Today, I want to teach you a very simple technique that is going to get you so much better results. You're going to get your work done faster. It's going to be easier, and it takes just the smallest change. Today, I'm talking about separating out planning from execution. Let's dive right in. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Deibert, and I'm a performance coach for enterprise and strategic account executives. I help you with your productivity, and I also help you with your mindset. So no matter what it is that's holding you back from doing what you need to be doing, we're going to address all of it. And this is a really key piece. So let me lay this out for you. What I see with so many of my clients is that, and myself included, I'm definitely part of this population, is that so many of us try to lump planning and execution together. So what this looks like is we sit down, we kind of like check through our emails, see what's going on, try to get like a feel for what's happening today. And we might like make a little bit of a plan, but then we start like working on the plan as we're planning it. We start going to execution mode. And then we get a little bit into execution mode. And then we get to the point where we kind of feel stuck. We hit a roadblock and we didn't really plan further than this. And so then it feels really frustrating and really overwhelming and we don't know what to do. And so then we just go doom scroll LinkedIn for a while. Please tell me I'm not the only one. And I know I'm not, because I've worked with hundreds of you that you've said the exact same thing. The reason that this happens is not because you're a poor human. It's not because you're lazy. It's not because you're incompetent. It's because you're just globbing two things together that really shouldn't be together. So what I want you to focus on instead is separating out planning from execution. Here's the thing. Two different parts of your brain are engaged when you're planning versus you're executing. And those two parts of the brain don't work very well together. So if you try to do both at the same time, it doesn't work very well. You end up feeling frustrated, you feel overwhelmed, you feel fatigued, you feel like you didn't get done what you wanted to get done. And at the end of the day, you're stressing about what didn't happen. You're feeling like you're never going to be able to live up to the expectations that you have of yourself. And of course, you can't live up to your potential. Of course, your peers are able to do it, and you're not able to do it because what's wrong with you? You had an idea of what you wanted to get done today, and you didn't even get it done. This is so normal. And luckily, the fix for it is so easy. So what I want you to focus on is separating out planning time from execution time. So if you've listened to any of my podcast episodes, any of my episodes, you'll see that I'm a really big fan of designing a system based on you. I even have a trademarked system for this called Work Like You Work Out, where I help you uncover how you should be working based on your workout style. And I'm a really big fan of having something that's personalized for you. I don't think that there is a one size fits all when it comes to productivity. I think that it's so important to operate how you operate. So I'm going to give you a couple different options here. For some of my clients, Monday morning, they're not quite recovered from the weekend. They're still trying to like start the engine, get going, figure out what's happening. They're kind of like not quite fully there. And for those clients, I highly recommend making Monday a list making day. I call it a list making day instead of a planning day because I know for some of you, just even talking about planning, just like it's like fingernails on a chalkboard, you're not a fan of it. So just call it a list making day. You're just looking at your accounts. You're just remembering what needs to happen. You're looking at your CRM. You're taking a look at your emails and you're just making lists. For some of you, if you do nothing but this, it's going to set you up for massive success in your sales career. It's so helpful to sit down, look at everything that's happening, and make a plan. It doesn't have to be really intense. It doesn't have to be really time consuming. It doesn't have to be something that uses every single brain cell that you have. It can just be making lists. I have a past episode that's the 5-minute tool that's going to completely change your productivity. It will teach you all about how to prioritize that list. But even just sitting down and putting the list on pen and paper can be massively helpful for you. Now, there are others of you, myself included, who Monday morning it hits and you're like, I'm ready to go. Let's do this. So maybe you have a smaller planning section. Maybe it doesn't have to take all day, but you have some time where you sit down and you make a plan for yourself. I'll talk more about when to schedule your planning, but for now, I want you to think about separating out the planning time from the execution time. What happens when you do this is you are essentially making all the decisions in advance. And that is a huge favor that you can do for your future self. When you're thinking about what needs to happen and writing out the steps for yourself, then the future you doesn't have to spend as much energy trying to figure this all out. When we're in the planning mode, it's our prefrontal cortex that is engaged. This part of our brain lights up. It's thinking about the future. It's planning for what do we need to do to reach our highest human potential. And it's thinking about like, what do we need to do? But that part of our brain is engaged only when we're thinking about the future. When we're executing, it's our lower brain. It's our primitive brain that's executing. This is the difference. I call this the CEO brain versus the employee brain. And so when you're in that planning mode, you want to do favors for your employee self. The employee brain, the lower brain, is just focused on risks. It's focused on what's going to kill me, what are the things that are going to make me lose my job. And so that part of the brain is really focused on risk. So when you are sitting down and planning, you can just make decisions in advance for yourself of how you're going to do your work, which is going to make it so much easier for the employee to actually execute. Okay, next let's talk about when to plan. For some people, daily planning is essential. Maybe even checking in on that plan at multiple times in the day. But let me tell you a secret. For some of us, maybe a weekly plan is exactly what we need. And for some of us, maybe it's just a monthly plan. That's what we need. And for some of us, maybe even a quarterly plan is all we need. If you haven't heard of the 12-week year, it's essentially the idea that you plan a quarter at a time. You sit down and you decide, okay, over this next quarter, what do I want to accomplish? You have 1 to 3 goals. Ideally, 1 goal up to 3, no more than that. And then you just write down the tactics that you're going to do for every single one of those goals. And you have this list. It's a running list. You know when you're going to execute on those. You know how you're going to execute on those. And then you just check in with your list every day and just check off the things that you need to do. So for some of us, all we need is a quarterly plan. And then we just execute on that plan. The end of the quarter, we revisit, we reevaluate what we want our goals to be. And that's it. Planning does not have to be as hard as we make it out to be. It can be as simple as sitting down once a quarter, making a plan, and then just executing on it. But if you are more of maybe a weekly planner or even a daily planner, there's so many different ways that you can slate it into your schedule. And I really, again, highly recommend doing this in a way that works best for you. You have your own rhythms and you don't need to fit yourself into anyone else's box. So you can do weekly planning. Some people like to do this Monday morning. Some people like to do this Sunday night. Some people maybe do it at the end of the week on Friday to plan out their next week. You can also do daily planning. And for some people, they really like a morning plan. Other people really love to have an end of day plan. I'm going to look at everything I got done today. I'm going to celebrate what I did today. And I'm going to figure out what's next and make my plan for tomorrow. So that when I sit down at my desk, I know exactly what it is that I'm working on. I don't have to waste time. I don't have to waste effort. I just sit down and I get the work done when I'm at my sharpest and I'm ready to go. I encourage you to toy with all these different types of planning and times for planning and figure out which one works the best for you. Okay. Please try this out. I would love to know how it works for you. You can always find me over on LinkedIn. Just search my name, Amber Deibert, and you'll find my smiling face there. Feel free to like, comment, share this podcast. Make sure that it gets out to everybody who needs this information. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope this has been helpful, and I'll see you in the next episode.